Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Rose in the Ceilings podcast. Today we're here with Jasmin, who's part of Mind for Youth. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Jasmine. I am the founder of the Midwood High School chapter of Mind for Youth, and Mind for Youth is a organization. It's a nonprofit that's dedicated to helping that's centered around teenagers getting their mental health resources and making it accessible. Yeah, of course. So when I first started with it, I was originally looking for a program that I could join that would also cater to my own interests in the medical field. And I originally stumbled upon it on TikTok, like most teenagers do. And the point that really caught my eye was that it was a lot of fundraising and events and stuff like that. And mental health is just an important topic to me because I think it's such like a taboo topic still in a lot of communities. So I just thought if I could bring it to one part of my community, I could eventually expand it to more parts. And that's why I originally started it.
How's it been? Have you been accomplishing the stuff you wanted to accomplish?
So it's definitely still a work in progress. There's still a lot of things that need to be figured out, as with most new organizations. But we are coming up with our board of directors and our general members, and we will hopefully be doing a reveal post very soon. But it's just been so fun to be able to connect with different people that I didn't originally think we shared interest in and form a team of people that I can really trust.
That's great. You mentioned that it has really touched your life, mental health, and it's really shown as a big importance to you. And I'm wondering, what were the reactions of the youth around you when you mentioned that you're starting this? Was it positive, negative?
So it was definitely very positive, which I got a lot more interest in it than I was originally thinking of. I was hoping for at least 20 people, and I reached like half the school. Well, not half the school. There's a lot of people, but like half my grade, I would say. And a lot of it was very positive. A lot of them were looking for stuff to put on their college application. Um, and a lot of them also had interest in mental health and had experience in the roles that they were applying for, which was really nice. And it was really surprising to realize that there are so many people in my school that had more interest with me and more experience in the topic than I originally realized.
Really interesting point because I feel like it's interesting how you mentioned how like oh hey a lot of these people have this interest in mental health but I had no idea. So I was wondering what are your thoughts on maybe like why don't people talk about this as often? Why don't people express how interested they are in this topic more?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question. It's one that I've thought about a lot. So my main opinion on why this is such a taboo topic is because just the community that I grew up in, mental health isn't really seen as something that you need to work on, and therapy is definitely not something that's widely accepted in my community. It's more of something where it's like you just get over it, and that's not the way that mental health works, obviously. So it's just created this kind of idea where mental health needs to be locked away and not talked about and not discussed, and it ultimately just harms more people into hiding away.
For sure. So just tying it a little bit back into
Yeah.
what the organization does. You mentioned how it does provide some resources. Could you maybe give us a few examples of what those resources could look like?
Yeah, of course. So I know recently our organization has been organizing book donations and school supply donations for underfunded schools and students like that. And then on top of that, our social media posts are mainly centered around information and education. So if you look at some of the chapters of Mind for Youth, our main posts are about different coping mechanisms, different topics inside of the mental health field, different careers that you can possibly enter into. It's very focused on education and things like that.
Do you feel like I know you brought up a bit earlier, you're like, oh, like the community I was raised in, that like doesn't see mental health as like a very serious thing. Do you think that increasing education is going to be the way to change this, or is there like more we have to do as well?
I think that it is the main factor for how we can improve our the way we discuss mental health in our communities, but I don't think it's the only thing we can do. I think fundraising and events go so far for funding more education into this topic. I think that without the fundraising and the events that Mind for Youth holds, we wouldn't have nearly the reach that we have right now. I know we're in like dozens of countries. We've reached thousands of volunteers, and that's why, even though I would say that education is the main way that people learn to let go of the stigma and their own harmful opinions surrounding mental health, it's not the only way that we can improve the way we discuss mental health, if that makes sense.
For sure. Um, Another thing I was just curious about earlier, you talked about how you're trying to, reach out to your school, reach out to people in your grade. I know there's definitely a lot of people who also maybe have an idea they want to pursue a club they want to do at their school. What's your advice to students who maybe want to work on reaching out to those in their communities?
So my advice is, when I was first starting the club, I wasn't really sure either. I was going into this completely clueless. So the first thing I would do is definitely talk to the club director at your school if you are planning to hold it in school, because forming a good relationship with them gives you so much more access to funding and more promotions and stuff like that. And then the second thing I would do is just, you have to be so heavily based in social media, because the main way I got all my directors and my members was by reaching out and DMing these people directly and asking them, hey, this is what I'm forming, this is what the program is about, this is what we're going to be doing. Do you have any interest? And that's the only way that I was able to have the reach that I did have. So those are my main two tips.
I know, like, again, you're saying this is like a very like new, like up and coming thing, but I'm wondering, are there any struggles you've run into like already? Like, is there anything we kind of like, oh, I it's time to work this out and then like learn from that?
Yeah, definitely. So as I said, I am working on the board of directors currently at the moment, and with new leadership, it is very hard to know if you're making the right decision with the people that you're hiring. And with me, I'm definitely that a type of person where if I don't trust this person, if we don't work well together, I can't in good conscience continue to work with them. And that's definitely a problem that I've been reaching so far, because there are different people in our program have different ambitions and goals that they want to reach inside our program. So it's definitely something that we had to sit down and communicate about. But I have learned that just that communication is the biggest, most important thing that you have to focus on when you're making something like this.
Sure. Um, so thank you so much for telling us, about yourself, about your organization. Just to kind of cap us off, is there any last thing you kind of want to say about it, say about your club, say about the whole organization, and last thing to shout out, stuff like that?
Yeah, so first of all, shout out to my program. Shout out to everybody who's joined. Shout out to the people that have been helping me design and post on the social media. We've reached so many people and we've connected with so many great people like you guys. And I think the last thing I want to say is that this is such a courageous and brave thing to do. And if you guys have ideas like this, go for it, because that's the only way you guys know it's going to succeed. And it genuinely has been an amazing experience for me. So, yeah.
That's so nice. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. It was so lovely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.